Hello, Callum from the Nerdemic show here, and we've just had the first trailer from the upcoming season 9 of Doctor Who, and it reveals a lot of information about what is to come in the next series. So today we're going to break down and analyse this trailer so you're allowed to know what you should expect from the next series, or at least possible theories that we can make from this. Before we do that, we must quickly look at what we already know about the upcoming series so we're able to compare it to what we see in the trailer. This is the episode list for season 9 so far that shows us who is writing and directing season 9, as well as the named episodes so far. From this we can see that The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar are the opening two-parter, and that episodes 3 and 4, 7 and 8, and 11 and 12 are also two-parters. Which is a little bit odd, as it seems that episode 5 and 6 should be a two-parter, as they are clearly named The Girl Who Died and The Woman Who Lived. So without further ado, let's get into this trailer and analyse what we can see. The first important shot that we can see from this trailer is that we can see the TARDIS console exploding, which continues to be a tradition of it exploding since the show's return in 2005. Next we can see Clara running from an unknown villain in a corridor which is flooding, which becomes a prominent location in this trailer, which we will get into in a moment. Then we see who I believe to be the actress Morgan Christie in a location which looks like the undersea base that is under siege. Now we see a character who I believe is David Schofield, who will be playing the Viking god Odin in this series, which means this episode might be about the interstellar origins of the Norse gods. This shot was quickly shown in the trailer that shows a Dalek being crushed by something collapsing, which also first shows that the Dalek will be returning in this series. Now we get another shot of the underwater base as it loses power. This next shot shows a robotic creature that we've seen recently in some images with the director Ed Bazalgette in quite a rural setting for either the episode The Girl Who Died or The Woman Who Lived. Then we see a quite eerie shot of the hands reaching from the ground, which might be from episode 9 that was written by Mark Gatiss, as he has recently said that his episode will be quite scary, and this is something that he would do. Now we get the first image of a monster with black eyes dressed in historical clothing, which we can see from this location is to be the villain in the episode set in the underwater base. Which means this type of villain was the one that we previously saw Clara running from at the start of the trailer. We get another shot of the Daleks here, but there is something that is really interesting and very exciting, which is we can see there is a classic Dalek in the corner of the shot here. This is a great thing, as I love the classic Daleks, and I'm really happy to see them returning. Well, as long as they actually do more than they did back in the episode Asylum of the Daleks. This shot shows a two-faced alien playing cards in a location which is similar to the one we saw of our possible Odin figure a bit earlier. Next we get another quick shot of the robotic figure we saw from either The Girl Who Died or The Woman Who Lived, but this time he seemed to have hair. Now we see who I believe to be the actor Ashurna Ali in the underwater base setting that we often see in this trailer. What this does mean, however, that the underwater base that is under siege story might be the two-parter for episode 3 and 4, as both Ali and Christie were set to appear in the first block of filming, which was episode 3 and 4. Then we get our first shot of Michelle Gomez returning as Missy, the latest incarnation of the Master, looking into her makeup mirror where we can see a red dot sight, meaning that someone is trying to shoot her. Also recently it has confirmed that Missy will be returning in the episode The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar, which was the opening episodes for season 9. Now we get an area of this trailer that really excites me, as we get a look at this shot of an alien-looking city, which I believe is not only a Dalek city, but also on Skaro. My main reasoning for this we'll get to in a moment further in the trailer, but as we can look at this setting, it looks quite similar to the one we saw in the episode The Daleks back with the first Doctor in 1964. So if my theory comes out to be true, the Daleks' appearance in this scene must be truly epic. Talking about another returning location, we can see a man in cloaks in some sort of cavern-dwelling cult. But from the next shot, it reveals that this is the Sisterhood of Khan, which was shown in the episode The Night of the Doctor, featuring the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann. Which is where we should find the actress Kelly Hunter, Kay Griffiths, and Claire Higgins, as these three are meant to make an appearance in the first episode of season 9, and Higgins is previously known for playing Olia, the High Priestess of the Sisterhood of Khan, during The Night of the Doctor. Next we see Clara in the TARDIS wearing a spacesuit similar to that of the Doctor's Sanctuary Base 6 suit that he has worn in the episode Hide and Kill the Moon. Then we get another shot of Missy looking a bit more stunned than maniacal, which is seen in most of her appearances in this trailer, which means that we might be seeing some more character development of this character this series. Another look of the underwater base under siege, but it cuts to another black-eyed creature, but this time dressed in another historical looking clothing, as this one is seen to be wearing dog tags, meaning that the villain for episode 3 and 4 will be able to have different appearances. The next is an external shot of an underwater base, which we have seen several times in this trailer to be the one under siege and slowly flooding, which we now know will appear in episode 3 and 4. Next we can see the Doctor cheerfully running towards what we can next see is Clara, but what is important to take note from this location is that we can see a quite rural setting, similar to that we have seen in the images with the robotic creatures, which means this comes from the episode either The Girl Who Died or The Woman Who Lived. But also is to take note is that this means that these two episodes are based around Viking and Norse gods, like the previously seen Odin. My reasoning is set to be playing a Viking villager in episode 5 and or episode 6. Another quick shot of Clara hiding in the underwater base from episodes 3 and 4. Next we can see a Cygron carrying a small, which means that this comes from episode 7 or 8. These episodes are going to contain Kate Lethbridge-Stewart and Osgood, which is said to be making their appearance with the Cygron. Also, this is interesting as Osgood was seen to have been killed in the last season, and we know that the day of the Doctor there is a Cygron version of her. Could this two-parter reveal which one of them died, and also the current relations between the Zygrons and UNIT? A quick shot of the TARDIS console exploding. Now this is a fun scene of the Doctor wearing sunglasses and playing an electric guitar. Not much to theorise here, but just plain cool. Then we get a shot of this creepy creature standing over the Doctor in a moodily lit room with a wooden floor. This might be from the same episode as the Vikings, The Girl Who Died or The Woman Who Lived, as it looks up, it might be the internal of the building that the Doctor is seen running from earlier. Also, a quick note, doesn't the face of this creature look a little bit like the skull of a Verivoid? A quick shot of Clara drifting in space wearing the Doctor's spacesuit. The next shot is of a shadowy figure chasing the Doctor and Clara, which looks to be the internal water base that we've seen earlier, which will appear in episodes 3 and 4. Now this shot is what makes me believe that the previous image of the city is to be on Skaro. We see a group running from laser fire that looks like that of a Daleks. As we know that the Daleks will be appearing in this series now, and the setting looks similar to that scene surrounding the city, which makes me believe this episode to be set on Skaro. Also, the release of a recent image from The Magician's Apprentice showing the same or at least a similar setting. I believe that this episode will be the opening to Series 9, The Magician's Apprentice, which will now include the Sisterhood of Khan and Missy. And here we have Missy and Clara in a location similar to that one I just talked about a moment ago. This image is also interesting as we can see that Clara and Missy are working together. So that means that so is the Doctor. Why would Missy be doing this unless they are taking down a common enemy? Like the Daleks. A fun image here of the Doctor putting on the sunglasses that he's seen wearing when he's playing the guitar. Next we see the sonic screwdriver being tossed across the location similar to that scene in the images of The Magician's Apprentice. But the question is that, is it being thrown from or to the Doctor, and by who? Also the line heard, that is,
I'm the Doctor, and I save people.
Means that the Doctor has properly made his mind up on who he is after the question of Series 8 of, is he a good man? Which means that the Doctor might be easier to get along with in this series compared to that of the last. Alright, now we get to the reveal that most of the internet will be basically theorising until September, which is, who is Maisie Williams playing in this season of Doctor Who? First, let's take a look at the Doctor's reaction to her.
You?
Which shows that he knows her. Also, with her calling the Doctor old man,
What took you so long, old man?
gives the idea that this character knew the Doctor a long time ago and has been waiting for him. Some of the possible characters that Maisie could be playing is Susan, the first Doctor's first companion and granddaughter, or Jenny, who was originally played by Georgia Moffat, who was the Doctor's daughter first seen in the episode, well, The Doctor's Daughter, who the Doctor thought died, but we know to have survived. Or perhaps simply is a character we haven't seen yet. But what also is to take note is what she's wearing. From the frilly shirt, hat and mask, it looked like she's dressed as a highwayman, which means that she might appear in the episode 5 and 6, The Girl Who Died and The Woman Who Lived, as the actor Gareth Berliner is set to play a character known as Coachman. which would make sense to appear in the same episode as someone dressed as a highwayman. Of course, most of this could just be theories and speculation, but all I can say is that from this trailer, Season 9 is going to be epic, and I personally can't wait until September 19th. But what do you think of this trailer? Do you agree with my theories, or do you have some of your own? Please place them in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe here to Nerdemic Show, and we'll see you guys next time. I've been Callum John. Stay nerdy, guys.